Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is JGod. In today's video we're going to talk about the patch notes that were just released for multiplayer for Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I will leave a link in the description below for the full patch notes if you're interested in reading those, but I'm going to try and run through these as fast as possible to save you as much time. So keep in mind that this is not an in-depth as I run through all of these different patch notes. So they went ahead and adjusted the feature playlist. Gun game is now available. Mercenary Team Deathmatch Mosh Pit is available, and that's just pretty much TDM and kill confirmed, so no parties allowed. They also added Chaos Domination to the featured playlist. 3-second captures, 150 points per round, 6v6, so that means the max score goes up to 300. For whatever reason, for that Chaos Domination, the max party size is 5, so if you do want to party up, the max is 5 for that mode. Hardcore TDM and Kill Confirm are now 6v6, and you are now able to have 2 of the same specialists per team. All the rifles did get hit with the nerf. It says that they got a slight reduction to ADS move speed for all assault rifles, and that's just pretty much strafing. Slight reduction to ADS in transition speed for all assault rifles. So they basically slowed down how fast you can ADS while moving. The ICR did receive a direct nerf, and this one was for reduced headshot damage and slight reduction to reload speed. Overall, I think that headshot damage nerf is going to be the one that makes this gun a lot weaker. The Vapor also got an individual nerf, reduced close range headshot damage, so very similar to the ICR, but only at close range. Damage now falls off sooner, which kind of reduces the range of this weapon, which made it so powerful. High caliber reduced headshot multiplayer, eliminating the possibility of a 3-shot kill. So overall, they just made this gun weaker all the way around. Probably not going to be a good go-to anymore, but we'll have to see how that plays out in the meta. For the SMGs, they actually did a lot of work. They touched all the different ones except for the Spitfire. For the MX-9, they increased the damage ranges, so it should be a little bit more viable at just a little bit longer ranges, but the high caliber got nerfed on it, so now that eliminates the possibility of a 4-hit kill, which is a significant nerf in my opinion. The Cordite got extended damage ranges as well, so it should be a little bit more viable at a little bit longer ranges. And for the belt feed operator mod, it got a nerf, so you can't fire your weapons for as long. In my operator mod video, it was about 75, so it's going to be less than that. The GKS was hit only with a nerf for its operator mod, slight increase to time in between shots, so it just means you can't burst fire quite as quick. And for the SOG 9mm, its dual-wield operator mod got hit with a bigger nerf that basically increases the hipfire spread and reduces that hipfire accuracy. So for the tactical rifles, the Auger DMR remains untouched, so that best class setup I did will still be money. As far as the ABR 223, they extended the maximum damage range. They nerfed how fast the operator mod actually takes to accelerate, so it'll take just a little bit longer before it picks up into that full auto burst. And then they did nerf stock, so when you actually use stock on the weapon, you will get a slight reduction in movement speed from the previous version, but if you never use stock to begin with, you're still going to have the exact same strafing speed when you're actually moving. As far as laser sight 1 and 2, they improved the hipfire accuracy, which is a huge buff to close quarters combat. The Swordfish was hit with the nerf as well, so now you can no longer get 3-hit kills with high caliber. And then as far as the Pentaburst operator mod, reduced the gained ammo that you got from actually equipping it in the clip size. So overall, I think the ABR was hit with the bigger nerf, the Swordfish not so much. So overall, pretty much all the snipers got a buff in some way. They reduced the idle sway and they increased the damage, so you're a little bit more likely to get those one-shot kills on the upper body and headshots. Although pretty much all the snipers got a buff, what I am going to talk about is the individual attachments of each one because they got adjusted as well. For the Paladin, high caliber 2 no longer is a one-shot kill if someone has TAC 5 boost from crash if they get hit in the lower torso. FMJ2 got a buff, so now you do improved damage against score streaks. Stabilizer 2, now you can hold your breath faster after you've just held your breath. As far as the Outlaw goes, they did get that damage increase, reduce idle sway, which we already talked about. Increased base movement speed, so now you move a little bit faster. Stock slightly increased the ADS movement bonus, so now the stock is buffed in that particular case. SDM increased that magazine size from 10 to 12. Reduced idle sway, which we already talked about. And for the Kashka, I got a damage buff from 120 to 140, and then slightly increased ADS movement speed bonus while you have stock. So again, that one's more a strafing thing. If you're using stock and you're strafing, you can be able to move just a little bit faster. So all 3 of the LMGs got hit with the nerf as well. The Titan has reduced headshot damage, reduced hipfire accuracy, and stock now does not increase the speed quite as much as it did before this patch. And then as far as the VKM, it got reduced movement speed while firing. So anytime you're firing the weapon, you will not be able to strafe quite as fast. Reduced damage slightly, so that's going to weaken the potential at certain ranges. And for that Fat Barrel operator mod, it says reduced bullet tracer size. So I'm not sure if that means it's just going to be a little less forgiving on that hitbox. And then for the Hades, it says crossbar operator mod, reduced movement speed and accuracy, because that thing was nasty. I don't know if you guys seen any gameplay of that or tried it yourself, but it is disgusting what that crossbar could do. so it got a little bit of a nerf. Steady grip, improved recoil mitigation. So now steady grip is actually a buff in that category. So lots of nerfs to the LMGs so far. So for pistols, they got a buff all the way across the board. It says a slight reduction to ADS in transition speed. And that is the opposite of what they did with the rifles. So this is going to be a buff in this category. As far as the RK7 Garrison, slight increase to the time between bursts. So it means you can't burst fire quite as quick. Definitely a nerf. And it also received a second nerf, which was to slightly reduce the reload speed. So overall, all the pistols got buffed. The RK7 got nerfed in these categories. And for the Mach 12, they went ahead and nerfed the choke barrel. So now its one-hit kill potential has been reduced. They went ahead and also fixed a glitch that was happening with the Dragon Breath's operator mod. I wasn't really familiar with that glitch, so I'm not sure exactly what happened there. And for the SG-12, they went ahead and fixed another glitch that was happening with that strobe light operator mod, so no really change there. And they said there is a change coming that will probably affect the range, but they didn't actually include that in today's update. Certain attachments got adjustments as well. Grip 2 now no longer reduces the flinch quite as much as it did, so you're definitely going to notice that one on the ICR. Suppressor, they did actually nerf the range a little bit, so now when you equip it, it will actually impact the weapon just a little bit more. It was 10 to 15% on most weapons. We'll have to see how big that adjustment was. As far as these sights right here, it says holographic sight, dual zoomed optic, recon optic, and elo optic. They adjusted the ADS recoil, but I'm not sure if that's just visual recoil or actual recoil. And what I mean by that is sometimes the weapon will move, but if you just keep pulling the trigger, the bullet still goes straight true and it doesn't actually bounce around the screen. So this one will have to require a little bit more testing to see what they actually did, if they're actually adjusting the real recoil or just the visual recoil, because it's not very specific here. They did several changes to all the different specialists, but I'm basically going to run through them really quick and either tell you if they got a nerf or a buff. Ajax got a nerf, Nomad got a nerf, Crash got a nerf, Firebreak got a buff, Recon got a nerf, Torque got a buff, and Prophet got a buff. They all have different various buffs. There's a lot of detail there, but pretty much that's straightforward buffs and nerfs for all the different specialists. So they went ahead and tuned some spawning on Team Deathmatch, Domination, Hardpoint, Free-for-all, and Control. They also adjusted the gear a little bit, so the stim shot increased the time to fully heal, so it's a little bit of a nerf. Armor just got fixed because I guess if you hit it in certain areas, it would still give you armor mitigation, even though you hit them in the leg or the neck or the head or something like that. So now it just works the way it's intended. Acoustic sensor got another nerf, so I'll probably be testing that out to see how big that nerf was from the 10% reduction they did in the update last week. They also buffed dead silence, so now the footsteps are just a little bit more quiet, and they basically fixed engineer and heist so it can work the way it's intended. And they also tweaked a handful of the streaks. As far as the mantis goes, now if you go out of bounds slightly, it's not going to automatically blow up. And then as far as the dart goes, if you cycle through and get multiple darts, you'll be able to hold on to 2 darts at a time. You can actually call those in. They also increased the blast radius and damage, so it should be a little bit more effective. You don't have to be quite as accurate. As far as the strike team goes, still works pretty much the same, but the kills that you get from that strike team will not count towards your medals. They also went ahead and adjusted the ranges you need for long shots in the game, so that's going to apply to assault rifles, tactical rifles, submachine guns, and light machine guns. Doesn't really look like they affected sniper rifles or pistols. We'll kind of have to see how that works. They also resolved some of the glitches that people were having with getting certain challenges completed. They also made some adjustments to experience you earn in heist, in free-for-all. And then they also adjusted some bugs where you weren't getting challenges completed if you were playing hardcore. And then also using recon and vision pulse getting assist score. And one of the biggest changes I think they made is they actually adjusted pieces of cover to adjust spawn camping. And they added cover to the lower spawn and icebreaker. I didn't really notice anything on slums, but I'll go ahead and show you the piece I saw on Icebreaker. And the piece they added is this little cargo container on this side of the map. So this is pretty much the only piece I saw changed as far as that goes, because normally it's wide open. So as you come around there, you could peek people into spawn. And I think a lot of people were camping in this back area. So they were shooting people as they were coming out of that doorway or coming around the map. So this kind of blocks off that sight line, which is a nice add. Hopefully they continue to do this on a lot of the other maps, just because spawning should be a safe thing to do, with the exception maybe of getting killed by streaks. So we made it through the entire multiplayer patch list. It was a long one. It's probably the longest I've ever had on the channel. Normally when I speed through these, they end up being around 4 or 5 minutes or even less, because there's not much that's changed. Since this was the first big patch, I expect this to be one of the biggest, and it did change a lot, but I wouldn't expect everything to stay exactly the way it is. I think in the next week or two, you're going to see some of these adjustments get tweaked again and get a little bit reverted, because maybe they go too far in certain areas and they make things too powerful, or they make things too weak. Either way, we'll definitely find out in the next coming days and weeks. If you did enjoy the video in any way, remember to hit that like button. If you are brand new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn those notifications on. Typically cover Call of Duty news, in-game updates, best class setups, subscriber breakdowns, as well as other tip and trick videos on how to improve at Call of Duty. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a great day.